It's just a phone, Clara. Nothing happens when you answer the phone. Ah, 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 ah! Caution, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen this episode, then go back and watch it, and come back later and let's talk about it. So, episode 5, Time Heist. I'm not going to belabor this too long. Again, I think I'm kind of sold on Capaldi as the Doctor, and I really love the way the show is going. And this one I thought started off really well. Such a simple premise. It's funny, and yet at the same time they wind up in this mysterious room where they've had their memories erased by their own free will and are tasked with, robbing this bank. I just thought that was really, really cool. It's just a great way to set up an episode and gives you so much mystery and intrigue and makes you want to come back and watch the rest of it. The humor in this episode was fantastic, and the self-deprecating humor of this Doctor is just so awesome. The creature is scanning him, and he's like, "Yes, see the scarf, bow tie, a bit embarrassing. What do you think of the new look? I was going for minimalist, but I think I got magician." I mean, it's just fantastic. The guy. Oh, the writing is so clever, the dialogue is so great, and that's what's awesome about this show. And this, again, was no exception. And there's a lot more underneath the surface if you're willing to look for it. That idea of, how can you trust someone that looks back at you with your own eyes? And then when they flipped that, basically, and the Doctor realizes that he's the architect, and he starts off, by saying, "There's one thing I know about the architect, I hate him." And he lists off all of these, negative traits when he knows he's describing himself. And again, this idea of him being a good man and not was a great juxtaposition in this episode. When he's talking to Sabra right before, she, shoves the thing on her and disappears, and she tells him, "You're a good man." Again, in one sense, they're looking at him and saying, yes, he's a man that's trying to be good. And at the same time, he's the architect. And this line before she says that, she says, "When you meet the architect, do me a favor. Kill him for me." I mean, it's just brilliant. And I don't know exactly where they're heading with all of that, but I love this great juxtaposition and this journey that the Doctor is on to kind of try and find a way to be the good man that he's trying to be. The creature in this episode was really great as well. I think that's one of the great things that Moffat brings to the table, is that he seems to have all these ideas for these crazy creatures. And I know he co-wrote this episode, but the idea that this entire mission was a chance for them to save a species was really cool. I just really enjoyed it. The great chemistry between the Doctor and Clara, where he basically, doesn't seem to see her as this, pretty woman and this person that, he doesn't have that kind of an interest or whatever. But at the same time, at the end of it, when he's saying, robbed a bank, robbed a whole bank, beat that for a date, at the same time, he's competing for her time. He's competing, for her affections on a different level. Her relationship with, Danny, is progressing, and it seemed like in the preview for next week we're going to see more of that. And I'm interested to see if, he becomes a more, permanent character, how that all is going to play out. They do a good job with those kinds of relationships in the show, and so I'm excited to see where they go from there. So what did you think about this episode? Leave a comment, let's talk about it. It's Doctor Who! And as always, click right here if you like what you see, and subscribe to even more of me.